Get into this. What if I told you that Hollywood's golden boy was hiding the most dangerous secret of his career? Not in some leaked DMs, not on a finsta, but in the passenger seat of a black Mercedes every single night at 2 a.m. This isn't just tea. This is the whole damn kettle. Make sure you subscribe before you continue this video for the most exhilarating journey. His name was Alexander Sterling, 26 years old, 6 feet of cheekbones that could cut glass and eyes the color of expensive whiskey, 3 blockbusters under his belt, 50 million Instagram followers who would literally commit crimes for him, the internet's boyfriend, America's sweetheart, the kind of famous where you can't order coffee without it becoming a trending topic. And I mean that literally. There are TikToks dedicated to analyzing his Starbucks orders, threads on Reddit debating whether he's a Vinny or Grande kind of guy, fan accounts that track every paparazzi photo of him walking down Rodeo Drive. His life wasn't his own, it was content. Raw material for the algorithm to chew up and spit out as engagement metrics. But here's the thing about living in a glass house. Everyone can see in. And when you're Hollywood royalty, your life isn't really yours anymore. It belongs to the publicists who craft every statement, the agents who negotiate every appearance, the fans who think they own you because they bought a movie ticket, the haters who dissect your every flaw, the algorithm that decides whether you're trending or irrelevant. Every smile is content. Every relationship is a PR strategy. Every candid moment is carefully choreographed. Even his authentic Instagram posts went through 3 rounds of approval. The caption that read, "Just vibing," took 45 minutes and input from 4 different people to write. That's the price of perfection in the age of perpetual performance. Alex Sterling had everything. The mansion in the hills with an infinity pool that seemed to pour into the Los Angeles skyline. The cars, plural, because one Tesla wasn't enough. The designer wardrobe where a single jacket cost more than most people's monthly rent. The invitations to parties where champagne flowed like water and everybody who was anybody showed up to be seen. Except the one thing that actually mattered, the freedom to want what he wanted. To love who he loved. To exist without a script. To wake up in the morning and just be human instead of being a brand. To make a mistake without it becoming a trending topic. To fall in love without consulting a focus group. The world had already decided who Alex Sterling should be, who he should love, how his story should go. They'd written the narrative before he even had a chance to live it. America's boyfriend doesn't date men. America's boyfriend dates actresses and models. America's boyfriend has a very specific type, and that type polls well with the key demographic. And spoiler alert, none of their plans included a driver named James Chen. James Chen, 28 years old. Second-generation immigrant whose parents had sacrificed everything so he could have opportunities they never had. Quiet in a way that made people underestimate him. Smart in a way that made him dangerous to underestimate. He had the kind of face that was handsome without trying. Sharp jawline. Dark eyes that noticed everything. Hair that felt perfectly messy no matter what. The kind of handsome that didn't demand attention but earned it anyway. But James had learned early that being noticed wasn't always a good thing. Growing up, he'd mastered the art of being present but invisible. There when you needed him. Gone when you didn't. It was a survival skill in a world that didn't always make space for people who looked like him, sounded like him, came from where he came from. James wasn't supposed to be a driver. That wasn't the plan. That was never the plan. 6 years ago, he'd been pre-med at UCLA. Top of his class. Dean's list every semester. Future surgeon written all over him. Professors who pulled him aside to tell him he was going places. A mentor who promised to write recommendation letters that would open doors to the best residency programs in the country. But then his father got sick. Not sick like a cold or the flu. Sick like cancer. Sick like medical bills that pile up faster than you can count them. Sick like insurance that covers some things, but not the things that actually matter. Sick like watching someone you love deteriorate while you calculate whether you can afford another round of treatment. Medical bills piled up faster than scholarships could cover them. Student loans became a nightmare. Dreams got shelved. Not abandoned, shelved. Because James didn't give up on dreams. He just put them away for safekeeping while he dealt with reality. So James did what you do when life doesn't go according to plan. He adapted, pivoted, survived, got his commercial driver's license, started working for an elite service that catered to Hollywood's finest, turned himself into a ghost, the kind of person rich people forgot was even there. The help, the staff, the invisible infrastructure that kept their glamorous lives running smoothly. And you know what? He was good at it too. Professional, discreet, the kind of driver who knew when to talk and when to disappear into the leather seats, who understood that sometimes celebrities needed silence more than conversation, who knew how to read a mood, read a room, read a person. He'd driven Oscar winners who cried in the back seat after losing the award everyone said they'd win. Tech billionaires who spent the entire ride yelling into their phones about stock prices and market shares. Pop stars with more issues than Vogue, who sang along to their own songs on the radio and asked if he liked their new single. Nothing surprised him anymore. He'd learned to read people in the rearview mirror, could tell from the way someone closed a car door whether they wanted conversation or silence, could gauge from their breathing pattern whether they were anxious or angry or just exhausted, could predict from their body language whether they'd tip well or stiff him completely. At least, that's what he thought. Before Alexander Sterling. Before the night that changed everything. Their first ride together was supposed to be routine. Just another job. Just another rich person who needed to get from point A to point B. Alex needed a driver for a party in Malibu. His regular guy was out sick. James was the replacement. Simple. Professional. Forgettable. The kind of job you do, collect your payment, and move on to the next one. Except Alex Sterling didn't do forgettable. Even trying to be invisible, he was impossible to miss. James had seen photos, obviously. You couldn't exist in Los Angeles without seeing Alex Sterling's face on billboards, in magazines, on buses advertising his latest film. But photos didn't prepare you for the real thing. For the way he moved. For the energy he carried. For the weird disconnect between his public persona and the tired guy who climbed into the back seat wearing sunglasses at night. You can turn on music if you want, Alex said within the first 30 seconds. Not a command. An offering. Like he was trying to fill the awkward silence that stretched between them. And that's when James made his first mistake. He looked up, met Alex Sterling's eyes in the rearview mirror. Just for a split second. But that split second was enough to register that those whiskey-colored eyes looked sadder than they did in magazine spreads. More human. More real. "I'm fine, sir. Thank you," James replied. Professional. Polite. Boundaries firmly established. "Sir." That should have been the end of it. Boundaries established. Hierarchy clear. Driver and client. Servant and celebrity. The way things were supposed to be. The way things had always been in the hundreds of rides James had given before this one. But Alex leaned forward slightly, intrigued by James's formality. Most drivers tried too hard to be friendly, to prove they weren't starstruck, to act like driving a celebrity was no big deal. Or they went the opposite direction, cold and distant to the point of rudeness. James was neither. He was just professional. And somehow that was more interesting than either extreme. "You don't have to call me sir," Alex said. "Makes me feel like I'm 90. "Alex is fine. I prefer to keep things professional, Mr. Sterling," James responded without missing a beat. And there it was. The first crack in Alexander Sterling's carefully constructed world. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, said no to him. Not like that. Not with such quiet, unshakable dignity. Not without apologizing or explaining or backtracking. People bent over backwards to please Alex Sterling. They agreed with everything he said. Laughed at jokes that weren't funny. Pretended to like things they hated because he liked them. That was the currency of his world. Agreement, validation, affirmation. Everyone wanted something from him. So everyone performed for him. But James Chen just drove. Kept his eyes on the road. Maintained professional distance. Treated Alex Sterling like he was just another client. And somehow, that was the most radical thing anyone had done in years. Alex sat back, a small smile playing on his lips. For the first time in forever, someone had treated him like he was too much instead of not enough. Someone had set a boundary instead of dissolving theirs the moment he walked in the room. Someone had said no. Alex Sterling was intrigued. And when Alex Sterling got intrigued, when his curiosity was piqued, when someone presented a puzzle he couldn't immediately solve, things got complicated. Things got messy. Things got real. After that first night, something shifted in Alex's world. He requested James specifically, not just for parties in Malibu, for everything. Doctor's appointments in Beverly Hills, studio meetings in Burbank, late-night food runs when he couldn't sleep and needed in and out at 2 in the morning, gym sessions at dawn when most of LA was still asleep. James became a constant, the only person in Alex's world who wasn't performing, who wasn't trying to get something from him, who didn't want a selfie or an autograph or to pitch him a screenplay or to ask if he could get them an audition or to tell him about their cousin who was trying to break into acting. At first, the requests were reasonable, professional, the kind of thing any client might ask of their driver. But slowly, they evolved, became more personal, more frequent, more like Alex was manufacturing reasons to be in that car, in that space, with that person who wouldn't bend to his will. Slowly, the backseat distance started shrinking. Not physically. James kept things professional, always. Always opened the door. Always waited by the car. Always maintained that invisible line between service provider and client. But emotionally, that's where things got messy. That's where the boundaries started to blur. Because Alex started talking. Really talking. Not the sound bites he gave to Entertainment Tonight. Not the carefully crafted anecdotes he shared on talk shows. Real talk. Honest talk. The kind of talk that happens at 2 in the morning when you're tired enough that your guard drops and you forget to perform. He talked about the pressure, about the constant scrutiny, about how exhausting it was to be perceived all the time, to have every facial expression analyzed, every outfit critiqued, every relationship dissected by strangers on the internet who felt entitled to have opinions about his life. And James listened, didn't offer unsolicited advice, didn't try to fix anything, didn't minimize or dismiss, just listened, which was apparently so rare in Alex's world that it felt revolutionary. One night, 3 months in, Alex was on his phone, groaning in frustration. The sound of someone who'd reached their breaking point. "My publicist wants me to date Madison Hart," Alex said to the window, to the night, to no one in particular. "Says it would be great for both our brands. Like I'm a protein shake she's trying to market. Like my entire existence is just a branding opportunity." James's expression remained neutral, professional. But if you looked closely, really looked, you'd see the slightest tension in his jaw. The way his hands gripped the steering wheel just a fraction tighter. The micro-expression that said he had opinions he wasn't voicing. "Is that what you want?" James asked. Simple question. Loaded implications. "What I want?" Alex laughed, bitter and sharp. "Nobody cares what I want. They care about what polls well with the 18 to 34 demographic. They care about what generates engagement. They care about what the algorithm rewards. What I want is irrelevant to the machine." And that's when James made his second mistake. The first was meeting Alex Sterling's eyes in that mirror. The second was caring. Was letting that professional mask slip just enough to reveal that he wasn't just a driver fulfilling a job. He was a person who gave a damn about another person's pain. James glanced in the rearview mirror again. This time, there was something softer in his expression. Concern, empathy, connection. The look of someone who understood what it felt like to have your life controlled by circumstances beyond your control. "For what it's worth," James said quietly, "I think what you want matters. Should matter. Even if nobody else is saying that to you." Alex looked up from his phone, caught completely off guard. No one had said anything like that to him in years. Not his publicist. Not his agent. Not his friends. Did he even have real friends anymore? Or just people who wanted to be adjacent to his fame? Not his family, who loved him but didn't quite understand the peculiar prison of celebrity. He stared at James's reflection in that rearview mirror, really seeing him for the first time. Not as a driver, not as the help, but as a person. A person who just casually dropped a truth bomb in the middle of a routine drive. A person who'd given him permission to want something real. Forbidden knowledge, remember? Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can tell someone is that they're allowed to want something real. That their desires matter. That they don't have to sacrifice themselves on the altar of other people's expectations. 3 months in, something shifted. The air changed. The dynamic evolved. It started with the little things that you'd miss if you weren't paying attention. But Alex was paying attention. James was paying attention. They were both paying attention in ways that should have been a warning sign. Alex staying in the car longer than necessary after they'd reached a destination. Finding excuses to linger. "Oh, I should return this call. Let me just finish this text. Give me a second. I need to check something." All reasonable excuses. All bullshit. What he really needed was 5 more minutes in that car, in that space, with that person who made him feel seen. Conversations that stretched beyond small talk into actual connection, into real talk, into the kind of intimacy that develops when two people keep showing up for each other, keep being honest with each other, keep lowering their guards millimeter by millimeter until suddenly you realize you've shared things you've never told anyone. One rainy Los Angeles night, and yes, it does rain in LA, despite what people think, the Mercedes was parked outside a fancy restaurant in Beverly Hills. The kind of place with valet parking and prix-fixe menus and sommeliers who made wine recommendations based on your astrological sign. James waited in the driver's seat, reading a book. A real physical book, not a phone. Some worn paperback he'd probably read a dozen times. The interior light cast a warm glow, made the car feel like a cocoon, a sanctuary. The only private space in a city where privacy was a luxury most people couldn't afford. Then Alex emerged from the restaurant, and you could tell from 50 feet away that the date had been a disaster. His date, a beautiful actress named Cara or Tara or something that rhymed with drama, was behind him, glued to her phone, barely acknowledging his existence. She'd gotten what she needed from the evening photos for Instagram. Content for her followers. Proof that she ran in the right circles. Alex climbed into the car, doors slamming harder than necessary. The sound of frustration, of exhaustion, of being done with the whole charade. "Don't say anything," he said preemptively. James caught his eye in the mirror. There was understanding there. Sympathy. The look of someone who'd witnessed this cycle enough times to recognize the pattern. He started the car without a word, pulling smoothly into traffic. But here's the thing about James Chen. He wasn't good at following orders when someone was clearly hurting. When someone needed help even if they couldn't ask for it. When someone was drowning and too proud to admit they needed a life preserver. Instead of driving toward Alex's mansion in the hills, James took a different route. City lights blurred past the windows. The familiar streets of Beverly Hills gave way to less familiar territory. Hollywood. West Hollywood. The parts of LA that didn't make it onto postcards. This isn't the way home, Alex noticed after a few minutes. "I know," James said simply. The Mercedes pulled up to a 24-hour diner on the edge of Hollywood. Nothing fancy, nothing Instagram-worthy. A neon sign flickered against the night sky, half the letters burned out. The kind of place celebrities never go. The kind of place where real people ate real food at 3 in the morning after working double shifts. "You looked like you needed actual food," James said, turning to face Alex directly for the first time that night. Not whatever $17 appetizer you didn't eat at that restaurant. Not another performance disguised as a meal. Alex stared at the diner, then at James. For a moment, he looked like he might refuse. Like he might insist on going home. Like he might retreat behind his walls and pretend everything was fine. Then something in him broke. Not shattered, but cracked open. The performance shattered like glass. "I wasn't even hungry," Alex said quietly, honestly. I'm so tired of performing. So tired of being on all the time. So tired of pretending that I'm happy doing things that make me miserable. So tired of being Alexander Sterling when I just want to be Alex." And that's when James Chen did the most dangerous thing possible. He stopped being a driver. He became a person. He stepped across that invisible line between professional distance and human connection. He chose empathy over protocol. James turned in his seat, making full eye contact with Alex for the first time. Not through a mirror, not through the safety of reflection, but face to face. Person to person. Equal to equal. "So stop," James said with devastating simplicity. "For 1 hour. Be tired. Be hungry. Be whatever you actually are. No cameras here. No publicists. No fans. No algorithm. Just a diner with decent waffles and coffee that'll keep you up for 3 days. Just 2 people eating food. That's it." Alex's expression cracked. Relief. Vulnerability. Something raw and real flooding his face like he'd been holding his breath for years and finally remembered how to exhale. He nodded, not trusting his voice. That night at the diner? That's when everything changed. When the boundaries they'd both been so careful about started to dissolve like sugar in coffee. When professionalism gave way to something more complicated. Something more dangerous. Something more real. The interior was exactly what you'd expect. Red vinyl booths with duct tape covering tears in the upholstery. Checkered floor that had probably been retro cool in the 50s and was now just old. A bored waitress refilling coffee for the 3 other customers, a truck driver, a couple having a whispered argument, someone working on a laptop with exhausted determination. Alex and James sat across from each other in a back booth. Alex had his hood up, but looked more relaxed than he'd been in months. More human. More like a 26-year-old guy grabbing late-night food than a celebrity performing existence. 2 coffee mugs steamed between them on the Formica table. James's hands wrapped around his mug for warmth. Alex's fingers drummed nervously on the table, a tell that he was working up the courage to say something real. "You know," Alex started, then stopped. Started again. "I don't even know anything about you. 3 months, and I've been talking at you this whole time. Monologuing like you're my therapist or my diary or something. I don't know where you're from, what you like, what music you listen to when I'm not in the car, whether you're a morning person or a night owl. What makes you laugh?" He paused. "What you dream about." James looked down at his coffee, a sad smile crossing his face. The smile of someone who'd had to put their dreams in storage. "I used to dream about being a surgeon," James said quietly. "Saving lives. Making my parents proud. Making their sacrifices mean something. They came to this country with nothing. Work jobs nobody wanted so I could go to college. And I was going to be a doctor. That was the plan. That was the dream." He shrugged, a gesture of acceptance rather than defeat. "Now, I dream about paying bills on time. About my dad's next doctor's appointment going well. About keeping my head above water. Smaller dreams. Realistic ones. The kind of dreams you have when life teaches you that wanting too much is dangerous." And there it was, the truth that made James Chen different from everyone else in Alex Sterling's orbit. The truth that made him dangerous. James had sacrificed his dreams. Not sold them. Not leveraged them for personal gain. Sacrificed them. For love. For family. For something real. For something that mattered more than his own ambition. Alex leaned forward, genuinely fascinated, moved in a way he hadn't been moved in years. His expression was open, unguarded. The mask completely off. "That's not smaller," Alex said with conviction. That's actually beautiful. And brave. And more real than anything in my world. Giving up what you want for someone you love. That's more brave than anything I've ever done. I've never sacrificed anything. Everything's been handed to me. But you? You gave up your entire future. You give up what you want every single day." James countered, meeting his eyes across the table. "I see you. The way you perform even when you're exhausted. The way you make yourself into what people need. The way you sacrifice your truth to maintain an image. That takes a different kind of courage. A kind most people don't understand." Silence fell between them. Heavy. Charged. The kind of silence that speaks louder than words. The diner seemed to fade away. It was just the 2 of them, truly seeing each other for the first time. Not driver and client. Not celebrity and help. Just 2 people who'd been performing different versions of the same lonely story. And that was the moment. Not a kiss. Not a confession. Not some dramatic declaration. Just 2 people recognizing something in each other that the rest of the world couldn't see. Couldn't understand. 2 people in cages of their own making, suddenly realizing they were holding each other's keys. That maybe freedom wasn't something you found alone. Maybe it was something you found together. The waitress broke the moment, dropping off plates of waffles with a clatter. They both laughed, startled, self-conscious, aware that something significant had just happened even if they couldn't name it. The tension broke, but didn't disappear. Just transformed into something else. Something warm. Something possible. Something terrifying. After the diner, they existed in this impossible in-between space. Not quite friends. Friends didn't pay each other for their time. Definitely not driver and client anymore. That pretense had dissolved somewhere between the waffles and the 3rd refill of coffee. Something undefined. Something without a name. Something dangerous precisely because it refused to be categorized. Alex started requesting James for everything. And I mean everything. Early morning gym sessions at 5 a.m. when the city was still dark. Late night studio runs that could have been emails. Drives to nowhere in particular. Just circling the city, cruising down Sunset Boulevard, taking Pacific Coast Highway with the windows down, talking until sunrise painted the sky pink and gold. They drove through LA like they were trying to memorize it. Like they were trying to find something in the sprawl of the city. Or maybe they were just trying to find more time together without having to admit that's what they were doing. James started accepting jobs he should have turned down, shifts that ran too long, personal requests that crossed professional lines, jobs that paid less than what he usually charged, but that he took anyway because they came from a specific person. Because somewhere between the 405 freeway and Mulholland Drive, somewhere between midnight and dawn, somewhere between professional distance and personal connection, he'd stopped seeing Alex Sterling the celebrity and started seeing Alex, just Alex. The touches became more frequent, started innocent, stayed innocent, but charged with something neither of them wanted to name. Accidental brushes of hands when passing a coffee cup, Alex fixing James's crooked collar before an event, his fingers lingering on the fabric. James reaching back to hand Alex his forgotten phone, their fingers tangling for half a second longer than necessary. Each touch was electric. Each touch asked a question neither of them knew how to answer. Each touch pushed against the boundaries they'd established until those boundaries became more like suggestions, like guidelines they were both pretending to follow while actively ignoring. But here's the thing about falling. You don't realize you're doing it until you're already airborne, until there's no going back, until the ground is rushing up to meet you and all you can do is hope someone's there to catch you, until you're in too deep to pretend you're just waiting. It almost happened on a Tuesday, because of course it did. Life-changing moments never pick convenient times. They don't wait for perfect lighting or ideal circumstances. They happen on a random Tuesday when you're not prepared, when your guard is down, when you've stopped expecting anything to change. Rainy night. The Mercedes parked at a scenic overlook above the city. LA spread out below them, a sea of lights like a circuit board, like a constellation fallen to earth. Rain drummed on the roof, creating a curtain of privacy around them. The engine was off. The windows were fogging up. They were alone in a way they'd never been alone before. Do you ever feel like you're living the wrong life? Alex asked quietly, staring out at the city below. Like somewhere, there's another version of you who made different choices and is happier, more fulfilled, more true to who they actually are. James turned to look at Alex, dashboard lights casting shadows across his face. Every single day, he admitted. What would your other life look like? Alex asked, turning to face him fully. James's expression was raw, vulnerable. He looked at Alex like he was solving an equation he'd been working on for months. Like he was deciding whether to tell the truth or the safe answer. Honestly, James said, I don't know anymore. It used to be clear. Medical school, hospital, white coat and a stethoscope, saving lives, making a difference. But lately, he trailed off, the unspoken words hanging between them like smoke. Lately, Alex prompted, his voice soft but dangerous, encouraging, coaxing the truth out. The space between them shrunk. Neither of them moved, but somehow they were closer. The air in the car was thick with possibility, with things unsaid, with truths that couldn't be unspoken once voiced. Lately, I think maybe I was saving the wrong things, James whispered. Maybe I was so focused on the future I thought I should have that I missed the life I could actually live. Maybe I was so busy being practical that I forgot to be present. And there it was. The admission. The crack in James's carefully maintained professional distance. The moment where everything could have changed. Where they could have crossed the line from what they were to what they could be. 4 or 5 seconds. 5 perfect, terrible seconds. They existed in the space between before and after. Where everything was still possible. Where they could still pretend this wasn't happening. Where they could still go back to being driver and client, professional and distant, safe and lonely. They were inches apart. Alex's hand moved toward James's face, slow enough to be stopped, deliberate enough to be intentional. James didn't pull away. Time seemed to stop. The rain, the city, the world, everything paused. Then James's phone rang, shattered the moment like glass. The caller ID read, Dad's nurse, in clinical letters. James jerked back, answering immediately, his voice tight with worry and fear and guilt. Hello? Is everything okay? Alex sat back, running his hands through his hair, breathing hard like he'd been running. The moment was gone. They both knew it. Reality had interrupted. But for 5 seconds, they'd existed in possibility. And you can't unknow possibility once you've tasted it. Reality has a way of interrupting at the worst possible moments. Or maybe the best possible moments. Depending on how you feel about forbidden knowledge. depending on whether you think they needed saving from themselves. After that night, they both tried to pretend it didn't happen, that they hadn't almost crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed, that they hadn't almost kissed in a parked car like teenagers, that they hadn't almost ruined everything. They were so good at pretending. They'd both had years of practice. James went back to calling him Mr. Sterling, back to the backseat distance, back to being a ghost, the professional mask firmly back in place, welded on, impenetrable. He opened doors without meeting eyes, kept conversations to weather and traffic, rebuilt the walls they'd spent months dismantling. Alex went back to his publicist's master plan, started showing up to events with Madison Hart on his arm, perfect smiles for the cameras, perfect quotes about their amazing connection, perfect Instagram posts with perfectly crafted captions about finding someone special, all of it perfectly hollow. Paparazzi photos showed them holding hands, laughing at something off camera, looking like America's dream couple. He was smiling in every photo, but his eyes were dead, empty, performing. Madison glowed, oblivious, living her best life, being adjacent to his fame. She'd already changed her Instagram bio to include a ring emoji, even though no ring existed. It should have worked. This retreat into their assigned roles. This return to normal. This pretending that nothing had changed when everything had changed. Except they'd already tasted something real. And once you know what real feels like, performing becomes impossible. Once you've experienced genuine connection, surface-level interaction feels like suffocation. Once you've been seen, being invisible again feels like death. The silence between them was suffocating now. Heavy. Wrong. Like wearing clothes that don't fit anymore. Like speaking a language you used to be fluent in, but have forgotten. Like trying to go back to a place that no longer exists because you've changed too much to fit there anymore. The human heart isn't good at unfeeling things, at unknowing truths, at going backwards. You can pretend, you can perform, but you can't actually forget. The knowing lives in your body, in your bones, in the way you unconsciously lean towards someone even when you're trying to maintain distance. The breaking point came 3 weeks later, at another stage date, another performance, another night of being Alexander Sterling, America's boyfriend, instead of just Alex, just a person trying to live an honest life. Upscale restaurant, the kind with a 6-month waitlist unless you're famous. Candlelight that was supposed to be romantic, but just made everything feel staged. Other diners sneaking photos, pretending they weren't while definitely being obvious about it. Everything picture perfect except Alex's expression. Except the way his smile never reached his eyes. Except the way he'd checked his watch 17 times in 40 minutes. Madison was talking animatedly, posting Instagram stories between bites of her deconstructed salad. Documenting every moment, every angle, every perfectly plated course. Her phone was practically a third person at their table. She'd already posted 4 stories with heart emojis and the caption, "Date night magic sparkles." Even though the only magic happening was the disappearing act of Alex's will to live. "You're not even listening to me, are you?" Madison said, laughing but with an edge of annoyance. The laugh of someone who's used to being the center of attention and doesn't appreciate competition from someone's internal existential crisis. "Sorry, I'm just tired," Alex said, forcing a smile. The same smile he'd used in 1,000 interviews. The same smile that meant nothing. The same smile that was starting to feel like a mask that had fused to his face. "Well, wake up," Madison said, leaning forward conspiratorially. "Variety is here. See, 3 tables over. We need to look in love for at least 30 more minutes. Maybe 45 if we order dessert. Think of the coverage. Think of the engagement." And that was it. That was the moment. Something in Alex's expression hardened, crystallized, changed from performance to rebellion. He looked at Madison, really looked at her, maybe for the first time. Looked at the cameras, at the other diners watching their performance, at the perfect performance they were giving, at the life he was living that wasn't actually his life. Something inside him broke clean in half. Not a gentle crack, a catastrophic fracture. The kind of break that's been building for years and finally reaches critical mass. And that's when Alex Sterling did the most radical thing a person can do in Hollywood. The most dangerous thing. The most career-destroying thing. He told the truth. Out loud. In public. Where people could hear. Alex stood up, dropping his napkin on the table like a surrender flag. Madison looked confused. Other diners looked up from their meals. Phones came out. Everyone sensing that something was happening, that they were witnessing a moment. "I can't do this anymore," Alex said, loud enough for the room to hear. Not shouting, just done whispering, done performing, done pretending. "Alex, sit down," Madison hissed, her smile frozen in place. "Everyone's looking." "Good," Alex said with devastating calmness. "Let them look. Let them record. Let them post it. I'm done pretending. I'm done performing. I'm done being in love with someone I don't even know because it polls well. I'm done living a life that was designed by committee. I'm done being a brand instead of a person." Madison's face cycled through confusion, hurt, and then anger. The anger of someone whose Instagram aesthetic just got ruined. She grabbed her purse with the kind of force that suggested she'd be calling her publicist before she even reached the parking lot. "You're going to regret this," she said, standing up. "Your career. Do you know what you're doing to your career? Do you know how many people would kill to have what you have?" "My career isn't a life," Alex said simply, truthfully, "and I want a life. An actual life. With actual feelings. Where I actually get to choose who I love." Wild concept, I know. He walked out of the restaurant. Phones were everywhere, recording, capturing his moment of rebellion, his moment of truth, his moment of self-destruction or self-liberation, depending on how you looked at it. He didn't care. For the first time in 6 years, he didn't care what the algorithm would think, what the headlines would say, what the trending topics would be. He just knew he couldn't spend one more second living someone else's idea of his life. Some decisions you make with your head. Logical. Rational. Weighing pros and cons like you're solving an equation. Some you make with your heart. Emotional. Instinctive. Following what feels right even when it doesn't make sense. And some you make with that reckless, stupid, beautiful part of yourself that knows you're about to ruin everything and does it anyway. That knows there's no going back. That knows this might be the worst decision you've ever made. And does it anyway because not doing it would be worse. Because some things matter more than safety. It was raining again. Of course it was raining. Because if you're going to have a life-changing moment, why not add weather for dramatic effect? Alex stood on the curb outside the restaurant, getting soaked. Designer shirt plastered to his skin. Perfect hair ruined. Probably thousands of dollars worth of clothing being destroyed by rain, and he couldn't bring himself to care. He pulled out his phone with shaking hands. Scrolled to a contact he'd called hundreds of times. A contact that had somehow become the most important name in his phone. He pressed call before he could talk himself out of it. James's phone rang. He was at home. Small apartment, modest, warm. The kind of place that felt lived in rather than staged. He was probably reading, or studying, or doing something normal that normal people did when they weren't driving celebrities around LA. He stared at the caller ID. Alexander Sterling. His hand hovered over the phone. Every professional instinct screaming at him not to answer. Every boundary he'd rebuilt over the past 3 weeks telling him this was a bad idea. Every ounce of self-preservation warning him that picking up that phone meant stepping into something that could destroy them both. James knew he shouldn't answer. Knew that picking up that phone meant stepping into something that could destroy them both. He'd worked so hard to maintain distance. To protect them both. To be professional. To be smart. To be safe. But here's the thing about James Chen. He'd spent his whole life being practical. Being responsible. Being smart. Being safe. Sacrificing what he wanted for what was right. For what was responsible. For what made sense. And he was so tired of it. So tired of always being the practical one. The responsible one. The one who did the right thing at the expense of the real thing. He answered. His voice was careful, controlled. "Mr. Sterling? Is everything all right?" "I need you," Alex said, and his voice was breaking, cracking like ice, like something that had been frozen too long and was finally thawing. "Not as a driver, not as an employee. I need you. Please. I know I shouldn't call. I know this is crossing every line we've drawn. But I'm standing in the rain and I just walked out of my fake relationship and probably destroyed my career and I need you. Please." James closed his eyes, pressed the phone against his ear like he could somehow get closer to the desperation in Alex's voice. Every professional instinct was screaming at him to say no, to maintain boundaries, to protect himself, to be smart. But when someone you care about is drowning, you don't calculate the risk of jumping in after them. You just jump. James grabbed his keys. was already heading for the door before he consciously decided to move. "Where are you?" he asked. The Mercedes pulled up to the restaurant 15 minutes later. 15 minutes that felt like hours. James got out, umbrella in hand, and he saw Alex standing in the rain, completely drenched, looking lost and found at the same time. More real than James had ever seen him. No performance, no mask, just raw, honest, terrified humanity. When James saw Alex standing there, soaked, shivering, more real than he'd ever been, something in him surrendered. Every carefully constructed wall, every professional boundary, every reason why this was impossible, every logical argument against this, all of it crumbled like a sandcastle against a wave. James walked toward Alex with the umbrella, ready to offer shelter. But Alex stepped forward, into the rain, deliberately getting wetter, closing the distance between them, choosing honesty over comfort, choosing connection over protection. "I walked out," Alex said, voice raw with emotion and rain and truth. "Told Madison I couldn't do it anymore. The cameras got everything. By tomorrow, it'll be everywhere. Every news site, every gossip blog, every social media platform. My publicist is going to kill me. My agent is probably already drafting my retirement speech. My career is probably over." "Why?" James asked quietly. Simply, the most important question. Alex looked up at him. Rain streamed down both their faces, making it impossible to tell if there were tears mixed in. The city moved around them, cars passing, people walking, life happening, but they were frozen in this moment. This choice, this truth. "Because I'm in love with you," Alex said. Not whispered, not hidden, said out loud where anyone could hear, where the universe could witness, where there was no taking it back. "And I'm tired of pretending I'm not. I'm tired of performing a life I don't want. I'm tired of being in love with someone I can't have because it doesn't fit the narrative. I'm tired of being Alexander Sterling when all I want is to be Alex. With you." And there it was. The forbidden knowledge. The truth that could ruin everything. The confession that changed everything. Spoken out loud. In the rain. Like some kind of movie scene, except this was real. This was terrifying. This was everything. James's expression cracked. Every emotion he'd been holding back for months flooded his face. Fear, joy, love, panic, hope, terror. Everything at once. Too much to contain. Too much to hide. "Alex, you can't," James started, shaking his head. "This isn't. I'm your driver. You're Alexander Sterling. This doesn't work. The world won't accept this. Your career." "I don't care about the world anymore," Alex interrupted, stepping closer. His hand coming up to cup James's face, rain-soaked and trembling. "I care about you. I care about being honest. I care about living a life that's actually mine. Tell me you feel it too. Please. Tell me I'm not alone in this. Tell me I didn't just destroy my entire life for something that's one-sided." James's resolve crumbled like wet paper. His hand covered Alex's, holding it against his face. Holding on like Alex was the only solid thing in a spinning world. "You're not alone," James whispered. "You've never been alone. I've been falling for you since that first drive, and I've been terrified every single day since. Terrified of wanting something I can't have. Terrified of crossing lines I shouldn't cross. Terrified of this. But you're not alone." And then James Chen did the bravest thing he'd ever done. Braver than dropping out of medical school. Braver than sacrificing his dreams. Braver than surviving in a world that had never made space for him. Braver than anything he'd done in his entire life. He kissed Alex. In the rain. In front of the restaurant. Where anyone could see. Where cameras probably were seeing. Where his professional life was ending and something else, something real, was beginning. Not caring. Just feeling. Just choosing. Just being brave enough to want something. He chose love over logic. Feeling over safety. The beautiful, terrible, impossible thing over the practical, sensible, lonely thing. He chose the truth over the performance. He chose now over someday. He chose this. The thing about truth? It doesn't care about your timeline. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't ask permission. Once it's out, it spreads like wildfire. Fast and uncontrollable and consuming everything in its path. And Alex Sterling kissing his driver in the rain outside Beverly Hills' trendiest restaurant? That was gasoline on a bonfire. That was a nuclear explosion in the middle of Hollywood. That was every publicist's worst nightmare and every gossip columnist's dream come true. The media went feral. Absolutely feral. Twitter broke. Literally, the servers struggled. Instagram exploded with hot takes and opinions and reactions. TikTok had a field day, with videos analyzing every frame of the grainy footage someone had captured. YouTube video essays were being written in real time. Reddit threads multiplied like rabbits. Some people were supportive. Beautiful messages about love and authenticity and bravery. Some were vicious. The homophobia, the cruelty, the hatred that people feel entitled to direct at public figures. Most were just shocked. Genuinely shocked that perfect Alex Sterling, America's boyfriend, had been hiding something real all along. That the performance had been a performance. That the person they thought they knew didn't actually exist. Alex's team tried damage control. Emergency meetings at 2 in the morning. Crisis management protocols activated. Publicists making desperate phone calls. Agents trying to salvage what could be salvaged. Studio executives having tense discussions about contracts and clauses and morality standards. But how do you control the damage when someone stops lying and starts living? When they choose honesty over image. When they burn down their golden cage and walk out smiling. When the damage is actually healing disguised as destruction. 3 projects dropped him within 48 hours. A superhero franchise he was supposed to headline. A romantic comedy that had been greenlit specifically for him. A streaming series that was going to be his prestige play. Gone. Just like that. Contracts terminated. Opportunities evaporated. The career he'd built for 6 years crumbling in real time. His Instagram followers dipped, 15 million gone in a week. Brands pulled sponsorships. The algorithm decided he was no longer America's boyfriend. The machine moved on to the next perfect face, the next marketable smile, the next person willing to perform indefinitely. But you know what? Alex looked lighter than he'd looked in years. Genuinely lighter. Like he'd been carrying a weight he didn't realize was crushing him until he finally set it down. And James? James was terrified but determined. Scared of what he'd stepped into but certain he'd made the right choice. Because some things are worth being scared for. Some things are worth the risk. Some people are worth jumping off cliffs for and hoping you can figure out how to fly on the way down. And that's when James realized something crucial. Alex Sterling wasn't some fragile celebrity who needed protecting. He was someone who'd finally found his spine, his voice, his truth, his courage. And that was more attractive than any magazine cover, more real than any red carpet appearance, more valuable than any box office numbers. 3 days after the kiss heard round the internet, after the footage had been shared 10 million times, after every opinion had been voiced and every think piece had been written, Alex Sterling did something unprecedented. Something his team begged him not to do. Something that broke every rule in the celebrity handbook. He called his own press conference. No handlers. No script. No armor. No safety net. Just him and a microphone and the truth he'd been avoiding for 6 years. He walked into that room alone. Past his publicist who was having what looked like a full panic attack. Past his agent who was on his phone trying to stop this from happening. Past everyone who'd made a living managing his image. He walked in alone and faced a room full of hungry journalists who'd been salivating for this moment. "I'm not here to apologize," Alex said first thing, establishing the ground rules immediately. "I'm not here to spin a narrative or sell you a version of myself that fits better with your expectations or my brand guidelines. I'm not here to make this easier for anyone. I'm here to tell you the truth. And then I'm going to leave and live my life. And you can do whatever you want with it." Reporters leaned forward like wolves who'd caught a scent. Cameras zoomed in. Phones recorded. The room was silent, electric. Everyone sensing they were witnessing something real. Something that didn't happen often in the carefully managed world of celebrity. "For 6 years, Alex continued, I've been playing a character. Not just in movies, in life. I've been Alexander Sterling, America's boyfriend. The guy who says the right things. Dates the right people. Lives the right life. Makes the right choices. Does what polls well. What trends. What the algorithm rewards." His voice was steady, clear, honest in a way that public statements never were. And I was miserable. Genuinely, deeply miserable. Because I was living someone else's idea of who I should be instead of figuring out who I actually am. I was performing happiness while feeling empty. I was surrounded by people while being completely alone. I had everything except the one thing that actually matters, authenticity, truth, the freedom to be myself. You could hear a pin drop. This wasn't a calculated coming out orchestrated by GLAAD. This wasn't PR-approved authenticity. This was just truth. Raw, unfiltered, real. I fell in love with someone unexpected, Alex said. Someone real. Someone who saw me, not the image, not the brand, not the movie star, but me. The person underneath all the performance. And yes, he was my driver. And yes, that's unconventional. And yes, he's a man. And yes, I'm in love with him. And yes, I'm done pretending otherwise. One reporter raised a hand, couldn't help themselves. What about your career? Your image? Everything you've built? Alex smiled, sad but free. I'd rather have a small, honest life than a huge, fake one. I'd rather be happy in obscurity than miserable in the spotlight. If Hollywood can't handle the real me, then maybe Hollywood isn't where I belong. Maybe I don't want to be where I have to lie about who I love to be accepted. And then he did it. He put down the microphone, literally dropped it like this was some kind of rap battle, and walked out. Didn't take questions, didn't elaborate, didn't perform, just spoke his truth and left. Left the room stunned, left the world reeling, left the narrative behind and walked toward a future he was writing himself. It was the most powerful thing he'd ever done. Not his biggest box office opening, not his most acclaimed performance. This moment of radical honesty, this refusal to perform anymore, this choice to be real no matter the cost. 3 years later, James Chen walked through hospital corridors in scrubs with a stethoscope around his neck and his name on a badge that read, Dr. James Chen, resident. The dream he'd sacrificed had found its way back to him. Not the same path, not the timeline he'd imagined, but here anyway. Because sometimes the life you were supposed to live is just waiting for you to be brave enough to claim it. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find what actually matters. Sometimes the detour is the destination. Sometimes giving up on a dream is what allows you to find it again in a different form. And Alex? Alex kept acting. Smaller films, indie projects, movies that mattered more than they paid, movies with something to say, movies that challenged him as an artist instead of just selling him as a product. He wasn't Alexander Sterling, movie star anymore. He was Alex Sterling, actor. Subtle difference. Everything different. He lived in a smaller apartment now, drove a regular car, went to the grocery store without causing a scene, had a life that was actually his. And he'd never been happier. Not when he was on magazine covers. Not when he was trending. Not when he had 50 million followers. Now, this. Real life. Real love. Real everything. They built something small and private and theirs. Something the cameras couldn't touch. Something the algorithm couldn't quantify. Something real in a world of performance. And it turned out that was worth more than all the fame in the world. 5 years after that first ride, the one where James called Alex Mr. Sterling and kept professional distance, they were driving again. Windows down on Pacific Coast Highway. Music playing, singing badly and laughing about it. The driver was now a doctor. The celebrity was now just a person. The impossible had become ordinary. The forbidden had become their everyday. And maybe that's the real forbidden knowledge at the heart of this story. Not that they fell in love. Not that they chose each other. But that choosing love, real, messy, complicated, inconvenient love, over everything else the world offers you, is always the right choice. Always. Even when it costs you everything. Especially when it costs you everything. Because what you gain is worth infinitely more than what you lose. The thing about forbidden knowledge, once you know it, you can't unknow it. Once you taste real love, you can't go back to performing it. Once you choose truth, everything else becomes impossible. The performance stops being an option. The cage stops being tolerable. The lie stops being sustainable. So here's your forbidden knowledge for today. You deserve to be loved for who you actually are. Not who you pretend to be. Not who you perform being. Not who polls well. Not who the algorithm rewards. Who you are, in the quiet moments, when no one's watching. When the cameras are off. When the performance ends. That person, the real one, that's who deserves love. That's not scandalous. That's not forbidden. That's just true. The Beverly Hills actor who secretly dated his driver wasn't hiding a scandal. He was hiding his humanity. And when he finally stopped hiding, he didn't lose everything. He found it. He found himself. He found love. He found truth. He found a life worth living instead of a life worth photographing. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is just be real. Stop performing. Stop pretending. Stop living the life everyone else designed for you, and start living the one you actually want. That's the story. That's the whole story. Two people, a car, a city of dreams and broken promises, and the courage to choose truth over comfort, love over safety, reality over performance. That's it. That's everything.
Hit the subscribe button for more enchanting tales every week. Don't forget to keep the magic alive.